Hello guys, what is up? This is going at again, your coach of the Chicago Cubchoos, and I'm bringing you guys the draft analysis for Season 3 of the National Pokemon Association, also known as the NPA. So the draft was recently done, and if you guys want to go check out the draft, it's over on the National Pokemon Association YouTube channel. But basically, if you guys don't want to go there and want to know what my team was, want to know why I picked my Pokemon and all that kind of stuff, well basically, here's the video showing off that kind of stuff. So, there are 24 people in this league. I was number 5 out of the 24 people, and we picked a very nice team, I must say. We had a lot of different ideas of Pokemon that we wanted to draft in between each and every pick, but obviously there were lots of things that were changed, lots of plans that were changed, and I gotta say, honestly guys, this team is better than what I even had planned to pick in the first place. I had the 3 different types of rubrics and drafts and whatnot that we had before, the draft itself happened. We were thinking we were going to have a completely different team compared to what we ended up getting, and I'm very, very content with the Pokemon that we did end up with. So, yeah. So, basically, I gotta tell you guys this first and foremost, because this really did confuse a lot of people, and I feel like not many people did really explain it very well. So, there are 5 separate tiers. There's Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, and Tier 5. So, these 5 tiers are basically just to separate certain Pokemon from other types of, tiers and whatnot, like, how there's OU, UU, and that kind of stuff. So, it's basically just separate Pokemon. Tier 1, it has, like, pretty much the best Pokemon, you might say, and then Tier 5 would have like the worst Pokemon, you might say. And then there's also the S tier, where it's kind of like the Mega tier, except because there aren't enough Mega Pokemon, especially for 24 people in Sun and Moon, because they didn't include all of the Megas in this game in general, and then there are of course the banned Megas. We ended up basically taking a lot of the Pokemon that are considered very powerful, or just Pokemon that we feel don't really belong in tiers but should be separated in the separate tier, into the S tier. So there are 3 different types of tiers within the S tier, of course. So there's S tier 1, S tier 2, and then S tier 3. So S tier 1 is probably the most overpowered Pokemon in the game. And if you are going to take an S1 Pokemon, you are going to take a very big, downside to your team. So you got 4 free slots on your team, and that's basically where you can use your points, the free points, to draft whatever types of Pokemon you want from each and every tier. As long as you're not going under 0 free points, those Pokemon can be on your team. So, if you take an S1 Pokemon, you're going to go at negative 100 on your free points already. So, if I take an S1 Pokemon as one of my picks, then I only have 300 free points left to pick for my 4 Pokemon. If I take an S2 Pokemon, there will be no sorts of hurt on my points. I'll still have 400 points to choose from. And then if I take S3, that will actually give me points. So I'll actually have 440 points if I take an S3 Pokemon. So on our first pick, like I said, we had, the 5th overall pick. I was really wanting to take something like Mega Metagross, or taking a Tier 1 Pokemon in general. Thinking like possibly Latias or something like that. And that's honestly the most, that was like the most realistic scenario for me, taking something like Latias first pick. I really didn't think something like Lele would drop to me, or Mega Metagross would drop to me. And of course, Lele went first overall, like everybody thought it would, everybody knew it would. So I really wasn't banking on that. But the Pokemon that I didn't exactly think would drop to me was Mega Metagross. So pick number 2 in the draft was Celesteal. Pick number 3 was actually Sylveon. That was a bit of a weird one. And then number 4 was Magearna. And if I had not, gotten certain Pokemon like that and it dropped to me, honestly, man, I would have probably taken a Tier 1, because all the other S1s just didn't seem good enough for me to take. But the Pokemon that we did end up taking for the first pick was Mega Metagross. Now, fun fact about Mega Metagross, guys. I actually was helping out with tiering a bit, and I told people what I thought in the NPA. I was like, dude, we cannot allow Mega Metagross in the tiering, draft format and whatnot. We cannot allow this thing to even be draftable, because it is so overpowered. It is way too good. Its stats are OP, and if anything else, this Pokemon is better than it was in the last generation, because in Sun and Moon, every single Mega, right whenever you Mega Evolve, will go straight to that, speed boost slash, speed decrease. So something like, Sableye is going to take a big hit, but something like Mega Metagross that typically would have like 70 speed will jump to 110 on the first turn. So you will get that speed right away, and that was what I really thought was crazy, and the fact that we were allowing it this season rather than last season was absurd to me. So I was telling them I do not want this thing allowed and it was allowed. So you know what I did? I took it. I took it because I try to vouch for everybody saying this thing should not be allowed. And I did that. I did the same thing with Hoopa Unbound last season. I told people Hoopa Unbound is so overpowered. I don't know why this thing is allowed. And it was insane. It had the most kills last season, I do believe, or at least the second most kills. It was ridiculous. And I didn't take it because I didn't want it to even be drafted. But, you know, I could have drafted it. I could have had a better team. This season, though, I saw Mega Metagross, and I'm like, you know what? This thing is going to be drafted by me. I'm not gonna do that again. I'm gonna punish the people for letting it in. And this season, Hoopa Unbound is banned, so you know, Mega Metagross will probably be banned next season. But either way, I got Mega Metagross, very happy with it. It has amazing speed, amazing attack. It does also have that shady bulk to it too. It can live some hits. It can live the knockoff, obviously, because your Mega Stone cannot be knocked off, so it's gonna stay at that 65 power cap. And you know, even if it's true effective, it won't really do too much damage. Earthquaking it can take so many hits. It's such a good Pokemon, and you know, if you have a nice little, I guess, surrounding core with it, it can really put in the work. It's also that Psychic type Pokemon. Having a Steel Psychic Pokemon is just very nice. So we took the Mega Metagross first pick, and I'm very, very content and very happy with that at the very least. So coming back to the second pick, I was really thinking. Taking a dragon type Pokemon. So I was thinking, what can I get? There's Hydreigon still there, and Hydreigon really fits Mega Metagross because they kind of cover each other's weaknesses and strong points, and it's really nice to have the two of them on the same team. So I was really hoping from Hydreigon to come back to me. So you know, I was you know, biting my nails, going ham, and then out of nowhere it was picked by Old School Sin. You know what? I was okay with that because I, you know, saw something else that was available, and something else that could really fit my team, really fit my squad, and that Pokemon is Salamence. We took Salamence second pick, and this thing's a monster. I've had so much experience with Salamence in the past. It has that Intimidate, Moxie. It can be run mixed. It can have, you know, Wish on it if you really want to do. It can have Defog on it if you wanted to. It can do so much with everything that you can put on it. D-Dance it has Flamethrower. It has so much coverage in general within its moves, and you know, it does so much work. You can put Draco Meteor and the rest be physical type moves, so then Draco's, you know, not really gonna put too much of a, you know, hold onto the Salamence, I should say. So we took the Salamence. I'm very happy with it, and that Intimidate is gonna be very nice. That Mox is gonna be really nice. We can make it any sort of set we want, any sort of week. You can make it defensive if you really wanted to, and it's just gonna put in so much work for us. I'm really content with it getting it, and has that good speed, of course, that base 100 speed if I recall correctly. So I really look forward to using this thing, and a lot of people were, you know, wondering how I even got it, honestly. And since it is tier 2, that is actually even better than taking Hydreigon, which is tier 1. And honestly, in my opinion, Salamence should have been tier 1. And I actually was saying that we should push Goodra, who is tier 1, into tier 2, and take Salamence, who is even better in the gen because of Z moves, take that to tier 2 and put that in tier 1. But, of course, again, we kept what we had, and we didn't really change anything. So, punish them again to the tier 2, and then pick number 3. Now, this one was insane. So, like I said, the first 4 picks were pretty much mostly fairy-type Pokemon, except for pick number 2, that was Celesteela. So, I was thinking to myself, Clefable is on the board. I don't know how Clefable is on the board. I don't know in what dimension it should still be on the board, but it was. So I was thinking to myself, no way is Crystal, pick number 2, gonna pair Celesteela with Clefable unless she really wants that crazy core of a defensive beast. So I was thinking to myself, if she really wants to take a fairy, Azumarill is probably going to be what she's going to take because of that offense with defense being combined together. So she did end up going with the Azumarill on her pick. So what came to me? Clefable. Clefable did come to me as my 3rd pick, and this is my tier 1 Pokemon. This thing's a monster. It can put up the rocks. It has the T-Wave, the Toxic. It has all sorts of amazing coverage in terms of, you know, Thunderbolt, Fire Blast. It just puts it so much work. I was thinking it gets Ice Beam even. It puts in so much work with its fairy typing in general. You can build it as a cleric as well, and it gets recovery. It can hit hard with Moonblast. It can pretty much use Cosmic Power, or you can end up using Calm Mind as Unaware, as well as having Magic Guard. You can run it so many different ways. It's such an amazing Pokemon. It's really gonna put in the work for me. And whenever I looked back at my last draft from last season, I went 6-6 with a plus differential without having a fairy type, without having a dragon type, without having a steel type, and without having a rapid spinner. So with all of those being said, I did not have any of those, and this season I already have 3 out of those 4 on my first 3 picks. And I already have a tier 1 Pokemon, and last season my tier 1 Pokemon was actually an Azelf, which was tier 2, so we were already looking really nice, and I was very, very content with the team so far. The fact that we have these 3 as my Dragon, Fairy, Steel Core just looks so beautiful, and everybody is already saying that I'm the threat, and how could I get such a good team already, you know? So I wanted to just continue going, and you know what happened? I was thinking about taking some amazing Pokemon on the way back, and what did I see? I saw a Pokemon named Arcanine in the field still, and I was thinking to myself, I really want to get Arcanine. This thing was my MVP last season. This thing was the monster. This thing was a part of that fire, water, grass core that was so beautiful for me. So I was eyeing on that Arcanine, but I had to bite the fan that bite the fan that hit me. Bite the hand that fed me, and I actually ended up taking Tentacool as my 4th pick. So Tentacool is an amazing Pokemon. It has that shady speed. It has a very good special defense stat, as if I recall correctly. It has, you know, Scald. It has spikes and toxic spikes. It gets that ice beam. It gets that rapid spin that I really, really, really needed. And like I said last season, I didn't even have a rapid spinner. This season, I have a rapid spinner as well as the fire Fairy Dragon Steel Core, I should say. So we're looking very good and very mighty and very powerful, and I was very, very content with that pick. So what I was really, really hoping was that Arcanine would stick with me for pick number 5, and lo and behold, Arcanine did stick with me until pick number 5. This thing was my MVP last season. It was such a defensive beast. I could have had a 6-0 with it if I, you know, didn't let it die against the Neo King, so that was my fault. But this thing is such a great beast. It has so much defense. You can run it offensively. You can run it mixed. You can have that you can have that, I shouldn't say moonlight, but you can have that morning sun recovery, you know, Will-O-Wisp. You can run it Rocky Helmet. You can run it Banded. You can run it Life Orb. You can run it Expert Belt. There's so many different ways, and you know, no limits to this thing being a monster. And we already are forming that other core, the water, you know, the fire, water, grass core, which is very nice. So I was very content with taking this thing again, and we actually took it, I think, 3rd pick overall last season. Well, 3rd round, I should say, my third pick overall, and we ended up taking it 5th this season. So I was very, very happy with taking that. And so far, so good. I was not getting sniped. I got very lucky in this draft, I should mention. I got extremely lucky in this draft. And yeah, I was so happy with it, man. Even if I took an S1, making that 100 less points, my free points, I can deal with more than, you know, a few tier 4 Pokemon. I'm fine with that. I can deal with some tier 5s as well. That is not a concern by me. So at this point, we did not get sniped. But then, on the way back, the Pokemon that I was really eyeing was Rotom Cut, or also known as Rotom Mow. Rotom Mow was really something I wanted a lot. That good speed, the Leaf Storm, that grass and electric, you know, on the same as that Pokemon. Also having Levitate is so very nice. You know, have that beauty. You have that beauty with it, you know, not being able to be hit by ground type moves. And if you guys have seen my team already, I got Tentacool at Sweet to Ground, I got Arcanine at Sweet to Ground, I got Metagross at Sweet to Ground. That's 3 ground type weaknesses. So at this point, I was very weak to ground. So I really wanted to get Rotom Cut. Unfortunately, Vump, you know, pretty much sniped me. That was the first legitimate snipe. I'm not gonna lie, I did get sniped a little bit before with me wanting to get Starmie, but honestly, man, I would way prefer to get a Clefable than to get a Starmie, so that's fine. So we ended up actually taking another Pokemon that's electric and waiting on the grass type Pokemon, and we took Electros. And Electros is such a good Pokemon. The problem with me and Electros is that I've never really used it before, and I know it's a Pokemon that you need to know how to use before you use it. So that was a bit of a concern for me going into, you know, me wanting to draft it, but it has that Levitate, it has that, you know, ability to be run mix as well. You can run it offensively or defensively. Not really much defensively, more so mixed or you know, offense or especially I should say. Very nice with the fact that it has very good coverage as well. Slow Volt Switch is a very nice thing to have, as well as just, you know, you're running it AV, you're running it Life Orb, you're running it, you know, Specs or Bandit if you want to. Not really something I would, you know, really recommend. You can run it Leftovers, and you can run it in so many different ways. It has Levitate ability, so you cannot be hit by ground type moves, so it really does help me out in certain ways. And just having that pivot's really nice in general. It's a good Pokemon that I've never really had the opportunity to use too often, and really looking forward to using it, honestly. Electros is a really cool Pokemon, and it was the Pokemon that I wasn't really looking to get, but Rotom, you know, was taken, so that's completely okay. And it made me kind of switch my plans a little bit, honestly, forward into the draft. So, Vump, if you didn't take Rotom, it probably would have been easier for me, but that's fine because we had backup plans. And, you know, the draft was going by pretty quickly, but we had some time to, you know, regroup and rethink things. And shout out to the coaching staff. And shout out to Cindy, by the way, who actually made, you know, the slides and whatnot. She really helped out with the slides, and she actually helped me out with the graphics for this video in itself. So shout out to her. She's amazing. So yeah. Next pick was pick number 7, round number 7. So at this very moment, I was thinking I needed a grass type, but I didn't think I needed to take it right away. So at this very moment, this is where things got difficult for me. So I was thinking I needed a ground type, I need a ghost type, and I need a grass type. Those three things are very important to me at this very moment: grounds, ghost, and grass. So what I was thinking was, what was more of a, I guess, risk point at this very moment? So I was thinking to myself, well, I can right now go with Golurk and then come back with Virizion if I wanted to, or I can take Sazbatoon and come back with Gourgeist. But then I was thinking, what Pokemon can I take right now and then come back with later on that has more of a chance to come back to me than anything else? And I was thinking that Golurk and then Virizion would be way more likely to be, coming to me rather than Sazbatoon and Gourgeist come back to me. I was thinking Gourgeist, no way is it going to come back to me. It's such a good Pokemon, very good tier 5 Pokemon. It has the ability of, being small and being big. So I was really thinking I'm going to take Golurk and then come back with Virizion. But what did I do? I took the risk. I took the risk. I made a mistake with doing this. But we ended up taking Sazbatoon with pick number 7, a great Pokemon, water and ground. I don't know how this thing is tier 4 whenever, in my opinion, it does just as much as Gastrodon without the reliable recovery, and it just does a little bit more than my opinion for me. I like it more than Gastrodon, I like it more than Swampert, which are both tier 3. I think this thing should be tier 3 instead, because this thing's such a monster. It has such good coverage, it's such, it has that, ability to have knockoff and stealth rocks, and just to have a mixed Pokemon in general, or just have the full-out special attacking mon. It has that Sludge Wave for fairy coverage. It has, so many types of things. It has Water Absorb, which is so nice if you want to run it with Swift Swim. I do believe it does get Swift Swim. If I'm incorrect, I apologize. But if you're going against a water team with a rain team, then you can take advantage of other people having the rain up and whatnot. So it was very nice for me to take this thing. It's gonna put in so much work for me, and I was very content. Also, I really needed a ground type, and this thing was definitely going to be a nice little thing to pair up with Tentacruel, because Tentacruel and Sazbatoon are pretty different within what they do. They're very different, actually, and I don't have to bring one or the other every single week. I can bring both of them in a certain week if I wanted to, because they cover each other very well. One's weak to grass times 4, one's weak to ground, one's weak to electric, one's immune to electric. So it's such a nice Pokemon to pair up and with another typing, or another same primary type or whatever. I don't know how to speak English right now, but it was just really nice. And at this very moment, I was really scared that Gourgeist was going to be taken, because I really needed a grass type at this very moment. But what was ironic was, if I went with Golurk and wanted to come back with Virizion actually was taken by Moonlight Swami coming back to my pick. So that would have been more of a risky pick with me going Golurk and then come back with Virizion since Swami wanted to get it. So what I ended up doing was snagging Gourgeist 8th pick. So what ended up becoming the more risky play for me actually ended up being the more favorable play, as the Pokemon that I wanted to come back actually did come back, and the other plan that I wanted to come back actually wouldn't have come back. So we took Gourgeist, and like I mentioned before, you can use any size of Gourgeist that you want to. A very defensive Pokemon. It has the Synthesis, it has the Will-O-Wisp, it has the Spin Block with it being a Ghost type Pokemon. It's such a great mon in general. It does so much work, and I really feel like I can do a lot with it. Leech Seed is very nice. You can run that, you can just run it so well, really, and I'm really looking forward to using it. I used to use it back in the NU. I don't remember too much about me using it in the first place, so it's kind of going to be a different thing. It also has the Frisk ability, which people may think is useless, but right now it is actually very useful, because any Pokemon in the NPA could be running a Z item. It can be running a Z move, and I don't know whether a Pokemon will bring a Z item or not. So that's the thing. If I have Frisk, then I will learn, and I'll have more of a chance to, combat it rather than being completely, surprised by a Z move being used on me. So Gorgas is very nice in so many different fashions, and at this very moment, this is the Pokemon I needed, and it was available for me. It's a great grass type and very underrated, and that is going to pretty much tap out my water, fire, grass score, or fire, water, grass score, whatever you want to call it. And then I figured out I really need a fighting type Pokemon. So I was thinking to myself, what if I took Medicham? But then I remembered Medicham is tier 3. So no more Blueberry. Blueberry is the Pokemon I had last season. I love Medicham so very much. Unfortunately, it is tier 3, so I couldn't take it. But what I ended up thinking about taking more was Pangoro. Now, Pangoro is a very nice Pokemon. I didn't have a Dark type. I didn't have a Fighting type. And sure, it's 4 times weak to Fairy, but it is a very, very cool Pokemon. And the fact that it has so much offense to it, you don't need to run D-Dance on it, kind of like, Scrafty that you kind of need to. Not to diss Scrafty or anything like that, but I feel like it's better for me because, I don't want to have to set up and whatnot. I don't want people to try to go ahead and taunt me because I'm pretty sure Dark types can still be taunted. So I took Pangoro, and it has such a nice coverage. You can run it in so many different ways. In fact, you can even run it Scarfed. You can run it with that, nice little, fighting type moves. You can reuse Parting Shot to bring down the offenses in the Pokemon and just attacks in general. And you can even use Gunk Shot to destroy the Fairy types. So it's very nice in that fact. It's very offensive and not even that bad defensively either. So I'm gonna put in a lot of work with it, I hope. And I haven't really been able to use it too much. So it should be an interesting Pokemon for me to use. I needed the Fighting type, I needed the Dark type, and it's a very good Pokemon. And I really look forward to using it as well in this season. Next pick, and this is actually the second to last pick. I don't know how this thing actually dropped to me, but we took Explode. I needed a normal type, and I was thinking to myself, I could take Dodrio. Dodrio actually did get a big buff in this league, and we're in this season, I should say, in this game. It has a Swords Dance, it has Jump Kick, it has the boosted, I believe, attack from 100 to 110. Or I'm pretty sure attack was boosted, not speed. So it has a very good, move pool, has very good stats, and it was actually placed in tier 5 whenever it was supposed to actually be tier 3. So they forgot to actually change it, but anyways, it was taken by Jerry Oak, who literally picked right before me, so he sniped me on that, but it's all good because I was planning on taking Explode anyways. Explode is very nice. It has that strong Boom Burst, of course, and it has, these moves to surround Boom Burst as well, and of course it gets Scrappy, so you can hit any sort of normal types with sorts of, normal type moves and whatnot. So very looking forward to using this. You can go against those ghost types and Boom Burst the hell out of them, even though they are ghost. And it's a Pokemon that I've always feared. It destroyed me last season on Chris Cobain's team, and it's a Pokemon that I always fear going against in any sort of format, really. So I was kind of scared if it was gonna go in somebody else's hands. I took it from my own hands, so that now this way I don't really have to really worry about it. So yeah. And now, with the last pick, the Pokemon that I was really hoping to get was Crustle. Now, Crustle actually did get a big buff as well, and it actually did end up getting some sort of buff in one of its other, abilities. Even though you typically want its 30 and use that Shell Smashing ability, I was really looking forward to using my main Crustle. But, with the last pick for T-Train, who picks right before me, the person that's the 4th pick overall, he ended up taking Crustle right before I was about to take it, and I was devastated. This thing could have been so nice for me because it can also get the rocks up. I'm pretty sure it even gets spikes. I could be wrong though, and it can just hazard attack in general. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it. So what I ended up taking, instead was Ariados. So the story on Ariados is basically just webs and Sucker Punch. So what did I do? I actually ended up taking Ariados, putting it in the trash can, and taking up Kricketune. So I actually did end up taking Kricketune. I dropped Ariados for Kricketune because our Kricketune actually is faster, and it actually does get moves like a knockup and other utility moves that can be very nice for me to use and take advantage of, rather than just, something that's just going to use webs, and that's pretty much it. So instead of having one-dimensional Pokemon, we took Kricketune that can do more than Ariados could, and I feel like the poison typing for Ariados wouldn't really come in handy for me, more so would create more weaknesses for me, while Kricketune can kind of just do what it gotta do and do more than Ariados would for me. So we ended up taking Kricketune as our last pick, and I could have taken Crustle and completed the team, but either way I took Kricketune, and honestly, people sleep on this thing. It's not the worst Pokemon out there, and it can do some decent stuff, and I'm looking forward to using this whole entire team, honestly. Many people said that this last pick was not good. In my opinion, I think I like it. I think he can put in the work. I think he can round out the team decently with the Pokemon that we do have, and I don't know, man, if I could have taken something else, but with 24 people in this league, the last pick is going to be a little less, amazing compared to the other picks. But the fact that we took Expelled second to last was insane, and we do have 2 very nice scores. We do have a Rapid Spinner, we do have a Defogger, and we do have just, Web Setter, Rock Setters, Spike Setter, Toxic Spike Setter. So we have pretty much everything we need. A Cleric and whatnot. We have Intimidator core with, Arcanine and with Salamence, as well as Flash Fire with that nice little Arcanine. We have Swift Swim. We have Water Absorb. We have so many types of things that we can do with our Pokemon that are just so amazing. We have Mega Metagross that literally just cleans up stuff. Priority moves their Pokemon as well. So we have a very, very nice team, let alone for a 24-man draft. This team can be good enough to even run a 60-man draft. So I feel like we drafted very well. We got very lucky, and we didn't get sent too often except for the last few picks, ironically. So shout out to the coaches, shout out to Jodor, and for being the commissioner and whatnot. Shout out to the graphic designers. We had so much help from Mr. Mint, and we also got a lot of help from Wise Digital Design who actually made the slides. And then there's also Princess Pipsqueak, who did very much help me out with the layout that we're using right now with the Chicago Cubchoo style stuff, as well as the thumbnail. So shout out to her, and I really cannot wait to get this week started. So for those that are unaware, every single match will be uploaded on Saturdays, except for the week that's happening on PAX East. I believe that will be a bye week for me, since I will be away. So if there isn't a match that week, that's why. It's because I'm going to be away. So just to warn you guys about that. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this season. Let's go Cubchoos. If you guys want to get the shirt, I'm going to actually leave a link in the description about getting shirts and whatnot. It's not going to be the jersey. It's going to be more so a customized shirt that you guys can put any sort of number and name on it. Make sure that, the number is 1 and in between 1 and 99. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about my team. I think it's a really nice team. I feel like we did a very good job on it. Shout out to the coaching staff as well for really helping me out, and really looking forward to this season, man. Week 1 is happening this Saturday, and I'm gonna be going against Big Pump Gaming. So Big Pump, I'll be seeing you on the spotlight, my friend. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Really, really means a lot. Drop a like, drop a comment. What do you guys think about the team? And how hyped are you guys for the NPA? Let me know also who you're rooting for. Are you rooting for the Cubchoos? Are you rooting for somebody else? Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I'll see you guys later on. Peace out.